Fueled by a heady mix of ignorance and enthusiasm, Adam the Mythbuster becomes Adam the Bridge Builder.
We're making a suspension bridge.
Oh, okay.
Never want to think small. Adam's first ever bridge will be 60 feet long and 6 feet high, a mini Golden Gate. Essentially, he's making long, flat, strong boxes. He'll need 6 exactly the same to join end to end to make the roadbed.
And I've only got to make 12 of these, in like a day. I've done more work in less time.
He's also been known to do less work in more time. But today, he's making progress.
That's pretty good. Take the extra time on the front, save it on the back. Life's good.
Do you remember the guy in the beret and the mustache on that? Well, that's me. Yeah.
Life's good for Jamie, too. He's on the hunt for a piece of equipment, and it turns out the guys who make it are fans of the show. Better still, they send a whole box full in no time.
Wow.
Jamie has a new toy.
This is a brand spanking new Kinatrol actuator. These would normally open and close a valve on, maybe in some industrial process.
Only Jamie could get excited about a piece of industrial equipment. But then only Jamie could see its potential to make little marching robots.
Put a crossbar on here with a shoe on the end of each crossbar. And so as this thing swings back and forth like this, the shoes will go up and down, and this thing will go up and down, and that's our walking mechanism.
If all goes well, it won't be long before Jamie's hearing the pitter-patter of little feet in army boots.
There's a lot of unknowns here. Nothing we're not used to on Mythbusters.
What is known is Adam's finished the 6 sections of road deck. Now, the 2 uprights, which stand at either end of the bridge. Not bad for a first attempt. 60 feet of steel.
This is not comfortable in the least.
Good job, by the way. This is a nice piece of work. This is like one of those Marine Corps obstacle courses, right? It's like, how fast can you...
I can do it faster than that.
I don't think so.
Not much faster.
Many people feel it's a bad idea to train around jagged steel edges. But all Adam is concerned about is making this thing twang like the world's longest guitar string.
The goal is to get this bridge to tune it to about 3 hertz, which is about 3 beats per second, which is about a soldier's marching cadence. And then once we get that, we put our frequency oscillator on it, basically a big weight that hits the bridge at the right moment, boom, 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 and we'll start to watch the bridge go, wiggy every time we hit it. Should be pretty cool. Sorry. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm really sorry.
No, you can't.
Yeah, I'm cut.
It's easy to forget this is risky work. Only a flesh wound, he says. Adam showing a bit of British stiff upper lip. Of course, not everything the Brits do is so rigid. In June of 2000, the new Millennium Pedestrian Bridge across the Thames in London got off to a very shaky start.
It seems to be swaying. Well, it feels bad to me.
The bridge had to be closed for fear it would collapse. Turns out it had a slight sideways wobble, and crowds subconsciously swayed with that, making it worse. It eventually reopened after modifications. Back at Mythbusting HQ, Jamie's army is falling in. They might not look much now, all plastic helmets and 2 big boots. But to test this myth, Drill Sergeant Heineman will turn this spare parts outfit into a well-drilled marching machine. Building the bridge. Adam is soldiering on despite his injured arm. The Mythbusters backlot is about to become a theme park with the addition of a 60-foot suspension bridge. 2 main cables span the length of the bridge. Lighter lines run down to the road deck. The whole thing tensioned tight as a drum.
We may just be able to walk on this puppy.
Drum roll, please. Adam is a happy camper. It seemed a bridge too far, but it wasn't.
I have to say, this is one of the more satisfying things I've ever built.
Now, in true Mythbusters fashion, the only thing left to do is see if it can be shaken to pieces by Jamie's soldiers.
Okay, now Headrush is going for something really bizarre, but really interesting. First, I pulled 2 monster magnets out of an old microwave. Then I separated them with a hunk of 2x4. And then I string a copper wire between the magnets. But now for the cool part, connecting the wire to a D-cell battery. Okay, so what do you think's gonna happen when I touch the other end of the wire up to the battery? Ha, not quite yet. While you let this one tease your brain, the next one will turn your stomach. See if you can stomach this. Speed eating contests are a huge sport that take a lot of guts. These contestants really are stretching the limits of the human body. So just how far can the human stomach stretch? Is it twice the stomach's normal size, a monster 50 times its size, or a super inflated 100 times its normal size? The answer is actually pretty impressive. The human stomach can expand to 50 times its empty volume. That's like 50 bottles of soda. Okay, next time you're flying at 30,000 feet, about to pierce through the clouds, think about what a cloud actually is. We all know that clouds dump tons of water from the skies, but they seem to be floating weightlessly. It's weird. So how much does one of those guys actually weigh? Just for fun, let's rank our clouds on an animal scale, from mice to mammoths. Okay, on average, do clouds weigh about the same as 10 mice, about the same as 50 golden retrievers, or about the same as 100 elephants? Incredibly, the answer is that the average cloud weighs as much as 100 elephants. They pack a lot of water. That's because clouds are less dense than dry air of the same volume. So they're buoyant. So it's weird but true. Clouds are heavy, just not heavier than air. Okay, remember our monster magnet contraption? We have 2 magnets separated by a 2x4 and some copper wire strung between it. Now comes the electricity. What do you think's gonna happen to the wire when I touch the battery and add the electric current? Will it spin around like a skipping rope, wobble from side to side, or will it buck like a bronco? The answer is, it flips. The wire isn't magnetic, but when the current flows through it, the magnetic field is created around it. Depending on their orientation to each other, the magnetic fields will attract or repel. In this case, the 2 fields repel, so the wire flips away from the magnets. It's the same effect that makes maglev trains levitate above their magnetized tracks. What's truly amazing is that Michael Faraday described this effect all the way back in 1827. But he said, I see no use for this phenomenon, but make note of it here, as it may prove to be useful in the future. He was right.
Heard the one about the rowboat and the water skier?
Sit down more. I'll explain.
Stanford University has. If they pull this off, they'll become myth-busting immortals.
This is Apollo 13, baby. In Houston, we don't have a problem.
Big guy, what is the one we're doing today?
We have a new sport. It's called row skiing.
Row skiing.
Yeah, you water ski behind a rowboat.
So what, are we going to get out a little dinghy rowboat? I'm going to start paddling as fast as I can while you try and get up on water skis?
Actually, it's skiing behind a rowing 8. Now, that's an 8-person rowing shell. The question is, can we get up on a plane with water skis behind a boat like that?
Skiing behind a rowboat? Who ever heard of such a thing? Folklorist Heather Joseph Witham says this myth was made up by rowers for rowers.
You're not going to have construction workers talking about a rowing 8 or water skiing, but you're going to have rowers talking about this. Probably not even water skiers, because this functions for rowers as a way to comment on what they're doing, as a way for them to comment upon their sport. It's saying, look how fast we manly men can go.
The fast, manly men at the Stanford University's varsity rowing team have confidently agreed to put their egos on the line to test this one. These boats are $30,000 worth of carbon fiber rocket ship. With crew on board, it weighs nearly a ton. But the acceleration isn't like a motorboat. It surges and sinks with every stroke.
It is about accelerating only when the blade actually enters the water. Once it's out of the water, it's all poetry and love sonnets. Everything is cool and easy. Once the blade goes back in, it's dark and violent thoughts.
Sam, stay focused.
A racing crew will be having those dark and violent thoughts about 40 times a minute. Going fast, they'll generate a boat speed of about 15 miles an hour. Skiing is normally done at 20 or more.
Have you heard the myth about water skiers being pulled behind these boats?
Yeah, I think it's urban legend, but we're out to prove them wrong.
You think it can happen?
I don't know, man. These guys got legs like steel and arms like pipes. I think they can do it.
Even at top speed, they're slow by skiing standards. And that's before they add the drag of the skier. But failure is not a word in this coach's vocabulary.
You know, I got a feeling that good things are going to happen. I think we might have a new business. We might be pulling people here. These workouts might be a good way for us to go faster.
Amazing to watch. Made me feel pretty fat and old.
They're so in sync, and there's so much testosterone flowing on those boats. You can just feel it. And, you know, we give them a real challenge, like get this guy up out of the water. They're going to be, you know, just scrambling for it. It's going to be fun to watch.
Now the Mythbusters have a big problem. The athletes might be up to the challenge, but neither Jamie nor Adam knows how to ski.
You must be Willie. Adam.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Willie.
They don't just need a fast teacher, they need the water ski terminator.
Good. So, you guys know how to ski now?
We're here
You
for
want to
some
learn
lessons,
it?
yeah.
Okay. We're going to get the lessons going here.
This will be an unusual session for Willie. He'll be teaching them how to go slow. He was a champion skier in Germany before moving to America and turning pro.
Go about 1,500 RPMs to establish the minimum speed for him to ski at. This would be about the same in terms of speed, what it feels for him behind the rowboat. Jamie, move on and out on the boom.
Beginners start on a boom, not a rope.
When the boat pulls, keep your shoulders back. Don't let them come forward. Ready? Yeah.
This is why I wanted Jamie to go first.
Made the mistake in bending his arms. You gotta keep his arms straight. That's it. Arms straight. Keep them straight. Slowly stand up. Okay. Get your shoulders up, Jamie. Stand tall. Get your shoulders up. There you go.
Jamie's a fast learner, but he's going more than 20 miles an hour. The water feels solid.
I'm gonna slow you down to the speed behind the rowing boat. 15 miles per hour.
When Willie drops the speed, staying upright gets harder.
Jamie, slowly sit down. Get in the squat. Sit down. Sit down. More. Sit down more. Arms straight. Okay. Slowly stand up. Yeah. Get your shoulders up, Jamie. There you go. Very nice.
Perhaps it's just fear of upsetting Willie, but Jamie is skiing like a natural. Turns out he's just as good on the rope.
That felt pretty good. We did get it down pretty slow. I think we just nudged 10 miles an hour, which is, my guess is probably the minimum that we can really reasonably expect to stay up on the surface of the water. The slower you go, the harder it is.
Now it's Adam's turn.
Never had a pair of big old paddles strapped to my feet before. We'll see how much of a fool I make of myself. Hopefully a lot.
In fact, he does just fine. He's on the rope in a jiffy. Unfortunately, his legs give out a jiffy after that.
I think Adam is one tired cookie.
Even with the falls, Jamie and Adam have Willie's seal of approval. They're ready for the challenge.
I do believe that both skiers you have here, Jamie and Adam, can do this. I think the only difficulty that I can think of is for the crew to generate enough speed initially to get him out of the water.
I tell you, Jamie can have this one. He can water ski behind that boat. I'm not in shape. You know, it's all this like upper thigh and lower back power that you've got to do, just like halfway in this crouch. And a couple times I just dropped because I had no more strength.
I think if the guys are actually physically capable of pulling me through the water, that I can do it. You know, it's just a question of how fast they can get going with that kind of load. It's all up to those Stanford, you know, butch guys.
Personally, I hate doing dishes. I think it'd be a lot easier and a lot more fun if you could just blow them up. So the question is, if I wanted to use a firecracker to send a glass sky high, what would be the best way to do it? Putting it in an empty glass, filling the glass with sand, and then bang, or getting the glass to do what it does best, holding liquid? And the answer is the glass filled with liquid. Unlike the grains of sand, the liquid acts a bit like a solid. Instead of the energy radiating upward, it's distributed equally in all directions. Or to put it another way, kaboom! Now, watch what happens to the stem when we filmed at 100,000 frames per second. That's what I love about Headrush. We get to blow things up for a living. When it comes to mating time, Australian cuttlefish use every trick in the book. With 10 males to every female, all the single ladies usually go for the bigger guys. The big boys use their size to warn off smaller would-be rivals. But the little guys have developed a neat trick to get around this reproductive roadblock. Do they lure the big guys away with tasty treats, paralyze them by biting their mouths, or sneak past them by pretending to be one of the ladies? And the answer is, males can take on females' coloring by pretending to be one of the ladies. Smaller males do it to avoid the big guys. In fact, the female impersonators often have more success with the ladies than their bigger rivals. Go figure. Okay, time for Head Rush to fight the bad guys. Now, have you ever been a victim of forgery or had somebody try to fake your signature? Well, you don't really have to worry about it anymore because science is on the case. Okay, say I use a ballpoint pen to forge a signature. Now, what do you think is going to catch me? Will it be the type of pen I've used, the way I write the signature, or the type of ink in the pen? The answer is the pen itself. Ink is produced in huge batches, so it'll often be the same ink between pens. Signatures are notoriously variable, so I might just have gotten away with it. But under a microscope, the wear and tear on the tip of the pen will be an almost certain giveaway. Look at this one. See, it even has a microscopic hair stuck to the pen tip. And when you match it with the signature, you can see a tiny scratch in the ink. It's almost as good as matching a fingerprint. So, if you commit a forgery with this one, you're busted.
Seeing as no one would let them wreck a real bridge, Adam has built one himself. And Jamie's built, well, he's built these things. Not just one, but 12 little dudes. Custom-made stompers, whose mission is to shake this bridge to death. It's certainly got the neighbors talking.
So, Ed, have you heard the story about the Break Step Bridge?
Yes, I have.
What have you heard?
Well, I've heard that there was a battalion of men, soldiers, walking across the bridge. The bridge was supposed to have wobbled and tumbled.
That's what we're going to try and replicate here.
It's great. It's great.
The plan is to hook the soldiers up to an air compressor, normally used to power a jackhammer. Jamie's little guys should start marching. If they get the speed right, that should set the bridge vibrating.
They're going to launch these things. They may, like, flip the whole bridge over or something with the first turn on of the switch.
There's no way this is going to flip my bridge. It's not even close.
This was built to last.
Okay, let down.
Maybe it's not indestructible after all.
All right, cool. At least we're finding all the weak points. All right.
A few repairs, and the bridge is over its troubled waters. And now they're ready to wreck it. Power on. Remember, Jamie's worried the force could tip the bridge over.
Jamie's made a doo-wop group, not a battalion of soldiers. It's like the California Raisins.
The boys are looking a little wimpy. Seems Jamie's not feeding them enough air from the compressor.
This has to have 2 hoses on it. Hey.
Seems that Jamie didn't really inspect the equipment with any real Heinemann eyeball before testing the compressor.
Okay, here we go.
This time, there should be less doo-wop and more destruction.
Now we're talking.
They've got plenty of power now, but the soldiers aren't perfectly in time. They're not getting the single regular vibration through the bridge called for in the myth. Instead, those boots are just smashing Adam's road deck to pieces.
This is bothering me.
Well, sorry. It's
I wish you'd thought about that, because it's like people are going to watch this, are going to start to smash up the stuff without it moving.
To get the timing exactly right, Jamie will have to individually adjust the airflow to each of his soldiers. It's a fiddly process, and fiddly is not Adam's strong suit.
I have to say that, actually, at the very start of this, Jamie and I had a big argument about whether or not to do this electrically or pneumatically with air. And I strongly suggested that we not use air. I explained it to him in great detail, and he decided to ignore a good portion of it.
I'm pleased that the actuators are definitely doing what we needed. They were the right choice for this job. And they'll certainly go as fast or as slow as we need to get them to go. I think the biggest problem is not my little soldiers, it's the bridge.
There's blame in the air. But it's not always easy to destroy a bridge. In a master stroke of forward planning, this one in North Carolina was completed just before a dam was due to flood the valley. So, gathered around a very small table, the authorities decided to knock it down. First, they piled on huge weights. That only resulted in an amazing new use for animated arrows. So, they called in the Air Force, but the Flyboys were having an off day. So has the artillery come to that. Finally, mines did the trick in spectacular fashion. Adam and Janie are desperate to destroy their bridge with a bucking bronco vibration that shakes it to bits.
When we hit the resonance of the bridge going up and down with him will be extremely rhythmic and will get bigger every time. And it'll actually be pretty catastrophic.
Catastrophic destruction is the desired outcome for most Mythbusters experiments. So, for the third and final time, Jamie's army is ready for combat.
All right, Jamie. Nice and slow.
The troop is marching its metal heart out, but it can't match the frequency of the bridge. There's no wave of vibration rolling through the roadbed. Something's got to give. They've broken the bridge, but only through sledgehammer power, not sweet harmonic vibration.
All my cables held.
Yeah, these things are starting to...
Yeah, look, the whole thing parallelogrammed.
Yeah.
That's where it failed.
These things appear to me that we were just beating on the thing. And while the beating was in a certain rhythm, I don't see the bridge responding to it in that rhythm.
Janie's army will be sent home in disgrace. But like the two last soldiers left out in the jungle, the Mythbusters refuse to accept defeat. Jamie is already planning another monster robot to attack the bridge. They might have lost the battle, but later in the show, they will resume the Break-Step Bridge War.
I think I could get this bridge back up and running in half a day.
Well, looks like we're not quite done, but it was fun to see these guys pound away. They were kind of cute, weren't they?
They were very cute. Cute for science.
The next brain twister involves taking two ingredients, mixing them together, and working out what happens. Ingredient number 1, an egg. Now, I put an egg in a glass, take ingredient number 2, pour it over the egg, leave it there for about 24 hours, and what happens? You think about that and we'll come back for the answer. Meanwhile, let's take it to the 50-yard line. Sports these days are about the right mix of skill, effort, and science. There's a new football helmet with some pretty cool technology. Okay, time to get your head into this one. What is special about these helmets? Are they equipped with air conditioning to keep the brain a constant temperature, computer chips to monitor heat buildup, or concussion detectors? The answer is concussion detectors. These helmets contain HITS, or Head Impact Telemetry System. 6 accelerometers inside record how much impact the head takes at any point of collision. The accelerometer measures forces of rapid acceleration, or rapid deceleration, otherwise known as G-forces. Data from these accelerometers is sent wirelessly to the coach. That way, the coach can see if a player suffered an impact that could cause a concussion. It's designed to prevent long-term brain damage. This is important because head injuries can go undetected for years. Overkill? Not at all. It's estimated that over 40,000 high school football players suffer from concussions each year. But some clever science is making early detection possible. Golf is a really strange game. The less you swing, the lower your score, and the better you've played. And then there's some of the outfits. Like I said, strange. What's not so strange are the little dimples on the ball. There are about 330 of them, and these aren't the kind of dimples that make the ball cute. They help add distance to the shot. But how? Do they increase the amount of spin on the ball, reduce the amount of drag, or make the ball more springy? The answer is, dimples make the ball go further by reducing the amount of drag. As the ball flies through the air, the dimples interrupt the smooth airflow around the ball, creating turbulence. Turbulence drags less on the ball than the smooth flow, so the ball travels further. So now back to our egg conundrum. The egg has been sitting in the vinegar for 24 hours. What do you think's happened to our egg? Has it turned some wild color, shriveled up to nothing, or become rubbery? Okay, have you cracked it? Ta-da! The answer is, it's turned rubbery. So what's going on? The shell of a chicken egg is mostly calcium carbonate, and that is what makes it hard. And brittle. But put it in vinegar, which is mainly acetic acid, and some cool chemistry happens. Over 24 hours, the acid breaks up the carbonate and the calcium. The carbonate makes carbon dioxide gas. The calcium floats. Result? A soft outer layer of the former eggshell's flexible membrane. In other words, the egg, squishy and rubbery. Here's a high-speed version of what happened to the eggs. This is powdered calcium carbonate. Same as the eggshell, just not hard. Put that in lemon juice, another acetic acid, and away it goes. See, what took our eggshell 24 hours took this version only 24 seconds. It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it.
I'm Nick Sagan. I'm a science fiction writer. I make up things about the future and then I try to make them scientifically plausible. I love being a science fiction writer. You get to ask the big questions. Who are we? Where are we going? And when there's science involved, you then need to talk to a scientist. I worked for Star Trek for a long time. We had a terrific science advisor whose job it was to take all of these crazy writers' ideas and make it plausible. I think now is probably one of the best times to be studying math and science because we're on the verge of so many discoveries. There's something wonderful about using math and science to understand the world, to find ways of solving problems. Inspiring people to create science that changes the world is a head rush.
The Mythbusters are ready for the water ski challenge. Can you ski behind a rowing 8?
So you ready?
There's more than a myth on the line this morning. Stanford University has volunteered its best crew for the job. Their reputation is at stake, though Coach is playing it cool.
With the expert crew that Mythbusters has provided, I believe that there's no way we can fail.
First things first, these perfect, fragile rowing shells don't come standard with a ski rope. The Mythbusters have got to tie one on without tearing a hole in the boat.
If we run a line of thin, like high-strength cord to each one of these outriggers times 8, that's more than enough distributed load across the whole boat, and you ought to be able to water ski all day behind it.
All day, huh?
Well, it's only your thighs that are going to give out, buddy.
By distributing the load over the 8 riggers, Adam will minimize the strain on the boat and the rowers.
For the most part, these guys won't even be able to see this rig. It won't affect their rowing at all. $30,000 per boat. We don't want to put a nick in the darn thing.
That's the ski rope taken care of. But that's the easy part. The bare minimum speed required to pull Jamie out of the water is 10 miles an hour. In a race, a crew can reach 15, but Jamie's drag is sure to slow them down.
It would certainly help if I weighed a lot less than I do. I weigh about 180, 170, 180, and you know, if I weighed 100 pounds, then I'm sure it'd be easier on him, but that's why we came to Stanford.
Another problem for Jamie is, unlike a speedboat, the power here won't be constant. It will surge with each stroke, pulling him off balance. Coach has a strategy.
You're going to have to just put a lock on, guy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And just withstand the herky-jerky. It's going to whip you.
Yeah, I know. I've got to dampen it.
Remember, for Jamie and Adam, this is just another myth. But for Stanford, it's a matter of honor.
And just sit up. Don't think length. Think connection of hips and straight arm cable and draw. Let's have the boat just tug him a little bit.
Suddenly, Jamie's being dragged into something bigger than he realized. It's too late for second thoughts. This is about sporting glory or national televised failure. And there are no excuses.
Explanations did not get the man on the moon, and it will not get this Mythbuster out of the water. Okay? This is Apollo 13, baby. In Houston, we don't have a problem. Get ready. Attention. Go! Quicker! Wait up! Ho! Hey! Stop blowing! If you're not pulling, stop! Jiminy Jack Briscoe. These guys are still low.
So close. He was up, but couldn't hold on with the surge. This might just be possible.
Jamie, man, that was beautiful.
It was working.
You think you can get it going?
It's just in a state of constant, almost out of the water.
Right.
It's the hardest thing that a skier can do, I think.
Well, you think you're good for another go?
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
Nice lock on, big dog. That was all you. That was all you. We got to be quicker with the second stroke or longer with the first stroke.
It's just going to be up to me to maintain it, I think.
Sam, same thing that you guys just did.
So, Jamie Big Dog Heineman prepares to battle the surge again. The guys in the engine room have proved they've got the muscle to get him up. He can't let them down.
Attention! Go! Stay up. Come on, dog. Stay up. Come on, big dog. Stay up. Yeah! Go! Bring it up! Bring it up, Lord! Jeez. We had it.
It's close, but still no cigar. These Stanford guys won't settle for near enough. Jamie will ski even if it kills him.
Power was there. I was having trouble dealing with the surginess.
Try and put the weight back when that surge hits you, so you got a little more hip and power into it, because it's going to surge.
Yeah, that wasn't bad for the first 2 runs, though.
No, well, we ain't done yet. We're pulling your ass out. You're going to be doing this thing without a wetsuit and the beret and glasses on if I can have my way. Get up, guys. Let's pull this boy out of the water.
Tiny, man. That was twice as good as last time. You think you can do it twice as good as that?
I'll keep trying.
Just need like a good 30-second run.
Come to the spear. Come to the spear.
This is the third and final attempt. Coach can smell something special in the air.
Stay tough, all right? Stay tough. They're enjoying it. It's like you guys are right on the cusp of both meeting together at a higher plane. Looks good. I want you to put him on a ride that he won't forget. So once you get him up, keep him up and let's get his skin tone a little bit fearful, a little white. Let's scare him. Jam on it. Let's do something we haven't done. Here we go. Attention. Go.
He's up and he's skiing.
Nicely done, Jamie. Yeah. Keep it going, big dog. Keep it going, big dog. Run that boat. Run that boat. Run that boat.
It's not pretty. Jamie's fighting every surge, but they've done it.
Nice job, big dog. Yeah, guys. Yeah. Nice job.
Jamie's run lasted nearly 40 seconds.
I'm pleased as punch. That worked better than I'd ever hoped for. The fact that I could do this says that it ain't as ridiculous at all as we thought. Yeah, it was a workout. I was breathing hard after that.
Good job.
Stanford's finest have prevailed and proved this weird myth really is possible.
Never underestimate young, strong Mythbusters. One of those good things about youth is they don't know obstacles. You demand, or as we say, YDM.
YDM.
The Mythbusters are rebuilding the Break Step Bridge.
We weren't really happy with the collapse of the bridge the first time on the Break Step Bridge, so I'm putting it back together, and we're going to try it a second time, a little more scientifically, perhaps.
The science of this myth is the regular rhythmic footfalls of marching soldiers can resonate within a bridge, causing it to collapse. And the challenge is to induce a regular vibration that gets bigger with every beat, till the whole thing shakes itself apart. Wind caused a similar thing to happen in a famous collapse at the Tacoma Narrows. So far, the Mythbusters' attempts with little marching soldiers failed. So instead, Jamie's making one big heavy one.
That's starting to be pretty cool. We're getting a nice controllable harmonic out of this thing. I think we have what we need to work with.
Could this be the monster that will destroy the bridge?
The mechanical arrangement on the soldiers was such that it was a little more messy. This thing, I think, will be able to isolate what exactly is going on by being able